Hey, what is up guys, and welcome to another Honkai Star Rail video. Alright, so I got another Memory of Chaos video for you guys today. This season is pretty straightforward. If you guys have the on-element characters against the enemy, then it'll be fairly easy. If not, you're gonna have a hard time. And this is mostly due to the turbulence for this particular season. It spawns a Trotter, and that Trotter dies immediately if you weakness break it, and it gives advance forward to that character, as well as attack buff and a break effect buff. So think about it as like a mini Zealey Resurgence proc. If you have characters that can implant weaknesses like Silverwolf and Firefly, it'll also make this MOC a little bit easier, as well as characters that just straight up ignore the toughness mechanic like Akron and Shredyi. Anyways, for my two teams that I used for this season of Memory of Chaos, for the first half, I have my Imbibitor Lunane team, with Imbibitor Lunane himself, Ting Young, Sparkle, and Bailu, surprisingly enough, making a return because she's actually on element, and you'll see how I use her to my benefit later on in the gameplay video. For the second half, I have my Akron team featuring Akron herself, Pela, Branya, and Fu Xuan, who is actually a lifesaver in this particular half because you really need that one instance of crowd control immunity or some sort of cleanse on your sustain. Otherwise, you're not going to have a fun time on the second half. Usually, I would like to pair Japard up with my Akron because he has higher taunt value, and he can also provide the freeze, which is an additional debuff, allowing Akron to get her ultimate faster. But in this case, I opt for more safety rather than more uptime damage on Akron's ultimate. Alright, enough of that. As usual, I hope you guys enjoy the gameplay. Alright, first half, two Ting Young techniques, followed by Sparkle's technique, Bailu's technique, and we initiate the fight with Imbibitor Lunane's technique. And then we immediately spam the 2 key as usual on Ting Young. Get her ultimate off. Buff Lunane. Push Lunane up. We're going to go for the Ascended Maiden here first, and then use the ultimate to kill off that fish to apply the defense break. Now we're going to go for the Fan Lady, who's actually the more annoying opponent. You'll see here shortly that there is a little bit RNG on this first half, thanks to Fan Lady. If she ends up using this ability right here on Lunane, it's an auto restart for me. The other 3 characters have fairly higher effect resist, so they have a chance to resist, and if it actually hits my Bailu, you'll see in a moment here, she can actually kill the Trotter and advance forward and get rid of that debuff on her, so it's completely useless on Bailu. Alright, back onto the Ascended Lady. Here, I'm trying to... Usually, I go for the break on the Trotter here for Bailu to advance forward, but I decide against it. Instead, I want to use that on my Ting Young. So here, Ting Young, we're going to advance forward and also generate a skill point. We have our ultimate. Gonna pop it on Lunane. It's a little bit of a waste, but I want it to one cycle clear the first wave, so we're gonna need that ultimate. Here, we're gonna use the enhanced basic attack level 3. It's a bit of a waste. It's actually quite a bit of a waste of energy and skill points, but it provides the most damage output, allowing me to finish off the first wave here. Here, I'm going to check my Lunane stats because I've had this happen before where I get greedy and try to save skill points, and we actually end up not finishing the Maiden here. So I check I don't have Sparkle's crit damage buff, so you know what? I decide to go for the level 2 instead of just the level 1 enhanced basic attack. On to the second wave, we have Argenti, and unfortunately, I don't have any on-element DPSs that can weakness break him. So this half is actually quite annoying for me. But if you have someone that's a physical, fire, or ice DPS character, this fight should not be a problem for you. Especially physical, since the Trotter is also weak to physical characters as well. So for all your boot hill mains, this should not be an issue. Go for Argenti. The damage is negligible, honestly, because, what do you call it? I don't think my Lunane was buffed with Sparkle nor Ting Young. Here we don't have the skill points to buff Lunane, unfortunately. We're going to push him up and then pop Sparkle's ultimate, finally, to get some skill points back. And here you can see Bailu gets a free turn, and we generate an additional skill point thanks to me weakness breaking the Trotter. So Bailu actually becomes a great asset in this particular half of Memory of Chaos and this season as well. Here we're going to pop Lunane's ultimate, followed by Ting Young's ultimate. And this half doesn't have too many hard CCs either, other than the Fan Lady. So that makes Bailu definitely a pretty useful sustain character. We're going to buff Lunane up here. We don't have the skill points to push him up, so Sparkle's just going to have the basic attack here. We're going to start whittling down the Trotter with Bailu. Same with Ting Young. He's going to spawn in 2 more swords. It's about 140k damage. It's not too bad, considering I didn't have Sparkle's buff. I did have her ultimate buff, but not her crit damage buff. Here I'm debating whether or not to push him up. I decide to because we actually have the extra spare skill points thanks to Bailu being able to weakness break the Trotter as well as get an extra turn. So that is 3 skill points right there, and Ting Young also hasn't taken her turn yet. Pop Sparkle's ultimate here for the additional skill points. Push Lunane up again. I actually end up deciding here, I think, to pop Ting Young's technique, because I want to push Lunane up for his ultimate, so I didn't want one of the Argenti swords to take a turn and then deal a lot of damage to my team. And I kind of wanted to just push into the second phase of this fight. And Lunane's turn is up already, so that's why I just basic attack with Sparkle, and we only used the level 2 enhanced basic attack because he only has like 6% HP left. Alright, once again, we're gonna wither down the Trotter. Here I need to actually buff Lunane, so we're not gonna hit the Trotter. And he still has 1 turn before he goes into his immune state. One of the annoying fights about this fight is that one sword that gives... oh, and by the way, Ting Young dies, but it's okay. Bailu saves the usual stuff. One of the issues with this fight you'll see right now is that the sword, or the shield sword, that he spawns is really annoying because it actually blocks out 1 complete instance of damage. So that's why my Sparkle, I had enough skill points to advance for my Lunane, but there'd be no point because he would just be hitting an Argenti with damage immunity essentially. So I had to basically break the shield before I was able to use a level 3 enhanced basic attack on Argenti. And that's why I said if you don't have the on-element characters that can weakness break either the main boss or the annoying mobs that they spawn, this season of Memory of Chaos is really, really annoying to deal with. Here we're going to pop Ting Young's technique. I think I just popped Lunane's ultimate here. Get the damage boost and the barrier. So now that that annoying shield sword is gone, we can start focusing on Argenti. So either way, whether you decide to brute force your way through Argenti without hitting any of the mobs, or having to destroy the sword shield, it's just going to be less damage that you deal to him, or more turns and more cycles you have to go through in order to clear the boss. Alright, we're going to focus Argenti here and kill off the side mob. I believe that is just damage. Yeah, just deal some damage. Here we're going to pop the Trotter, I believe. Or are we not going to pop the Trotter? We pop the Trotter, get an extra turn. This will allow Bailu to get her ultimate up again. Here's the annoying shield again. We're going to pop Bailu's ultimate a little bit early just to be safe since she doesn't have a revive anymore. And I want everyone to be topped off and have the damage reduction anyways. There's Sparkle's ultimate, and here's the big swing. Negated quite a bit of the damage. Here I want to buff Lunane, which I do actually, apparently. And that's because I can just, I think I basic hero with Sparkle to break the shield. And then we pop Lunane's ultimate. And the reason why I only used Sparkle's basic here, even though her turn is in the next cycle, right? But here I know I have enough energy from Ting Young. So I'm gonna pop Ting Young's ultimate, and she's on Dance Dance Dance, and that should be more than enough to advance forward Sparkle. It also advances forward Lunane, so now that Sparkle pushes him up, he's allowed to do the enhanced basic attack into the ultimate once again. And this should be more than enough to finish off Argenti. And that's the first cycle, or the first half, in 4 cycles, which is a little bit below average, but oh well. Second half, Bronya technique, Fushan technique. We start the fight off with Acheron's technique. Second half is a lot easier, obviously, because Acheron just completely ignores the weakness break mechanic, and the opponents are weak to lightning anyways, so it makes for a pretty easy second half. Here we're going to pop the ultimate for some big damage. 567k, not too bad. And here's the annoying part. I'm just going to call that mob the violin mob, and then the other one has like a, I think like a, what is that, a pipe? It's a literal pipe. So violin and pipe mob. The violin mob is the annoying one that has that little like violin song that puts your teammate to sleep. So that's why we always want to try to keep our one instance of CC immunity from Fushuan up. And then this should finish off the first half, first wave, Acheron's ultimate. Here I'm deciding we're going to push up Acheron. Here we're going to get an extra turn thanks to the Trotter. And here I actually need to basic attack because Fushuan's coming up and I want to maintain that matrix up. Not only just for the damage reduction and crit rate like I said before, but for the one instance of CC immunity. There you go. Fushuan is immune to it. Fushuan's actually... I would say Fushuan might be one of the better targets to be CC'd, even though there's a chance for her to die if she's in that sleep mode. But if Bronya or Acheron gets CC'd, I think it's pretty much a bricked run, especially if it's Acheron. Actually, if it's Acheron, it's not too bad. No, if it's Bronya, then it's pretty much doomed. Because if it's Acheron, you can at least cleanse Acheron with Bronya's, advance forward, because it also cleanses as well. Here's Payla's ultimate for some AoE defense down. Here I'm debating on whether to basic or skill. As you can see here, if I basic, I'll be able to go right after Acheron here before the next cycle's turn. And it turns out, even if I skill, the same thing would happen. So I think I end up ultimately just using the skill. Yeah, and advancing forward Acheron. Oh, there's also the Goblet mob. He's the one that does all the DOTs, which is damage will add up, but we have Fushuan to mitigate a lot of it. Here I actually decide to not push Acheron up because I feel like it would just be a waste of skill points, as the mobs are almost basically dead, and having a buffed up ultimate would just be complete overkill. And I don't think I have enough damage just from Acheron's skill with Bronya's increased damage and advance forward to actually kill off the mobs. So instead we relied on the extra debuff that Payla provide to proc Acheron's ultimate. And now we're into the second half of this fight. Here Fushuan gets put to sleep. Definitely one of the better targets, I guess. We're gonna push Acheron up and pop Bronya's ultimate here.
Enemy targets ready for another.
Pop Palos ultimate for the defense down. Everyone's pretty low right now because I just noticed that Fu Xuan's matrix is down. So we need to get that up ASAP right now. So we pop it, and now the matrix is up. We also have that instance of CC immunity, like I've mentioned a million times already. Alright, here's the ultimate. I believe we're going to get advance forward because one of the Trotter dies. Yep. Nice. Fu Xuan's ultimate to heal everyone up. I think here we just pop the Trotter and get an extra turn. Yep, with the basic attack. So we get an extra turn. Into the skill.
This battle is unavoidable.
Advance her forward again. And now with the ultimate, we should easily finish off this boss. Boom! 700k. And with that, we finished MOC with 23 cycles remaining. Alright, as usual, let me go over my characters and their gear. This is my Imbibitor Lunane. Stats are relatively the same. Lycone is on the Fall of an Eon at S5. Trace is completely maxed out. These are his relics, which took the longest time to farm up. They're still not at its best, but I've gotten them to a level where, honestly, I don't even feel like grinding for his relics anymore because there's new characters I gotta build, new teams, etc, etc. Eidolons, he's at Eidolon 2. Alright, next is my Ting Young. These are his stats. Lycone is Dance 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 at Superimposition level 4. These are her traces. I always say I want to upgrade them whenever there's a double drop event, but I haven't done so far. These are her relics, 4-piece Musketeer set. And a 2-piece Broken Keel. I think I skipped the boots, my bad. Eidolons, she's still not at E6, she's only at Eidolon 4. Alright, next is my Sparkle. These are her stats. Lycone is another Dance 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 at S1. Ideally, I actually would like to run her on Bronya's signature Lycone, but currently Bronya's occupied with it. I do have another copy, but I just haven't had the resources or time to build it up. These are her traces. Could still use some work. I think it's actually worth maxing out both her ultimate and her skill. You can obviously ignore her basic attack. Relic, she's on a 4-piece speed set and a 2-piece Broken Keel, although that Broken Keel actually does nothing because if you didn't pay attention earlier, she doesn't have enough effect resist. I had to jumble between having enough speed, crit damage, and then the effect res. As you can see, these Broken Keel pieces, they have a lot of speed and some crit damage, but they are missing just a little bit of effect res that she needs, so a bit unfortunate. But I mean, they're still pretty solid pieces for what she needs. It's just that I don't get the crit damage, unfortunately. As for Eidolons, she doesn't have any. Alrighty, and on to Bailu, who finally made an appearance once again. As my first 5-star, I definitely have used her a lot in the past, but recently she's kind of taken a sitting on the bench, or just, I haven't been using her as often as I used to. But these are her stats regardless. Lycone is post-op conversation at S5. These are her traces. Relics is 2-piece speed, 2-piece max HP, and a Broken Keel set. As for Eidolons, she's at Eidolon 0. Alright, on to my very cracked Acheron. Actually, she could have better stats, but anyways, that's the best I can do for now. Yeah, I'm really tired of farming her domain. I spent so much time in there. And her pieces are still... they're above average, but I would like them to be better. This is her Lycone, her signature Lycone at S1. Traces are almost maxed out, other than her basic attack. I really don't feel like putting the extra points in it, although I actually do have the trace material, which is funny enough. I did overfarm her traces a little bit. These are her relics. For the most part, these pieces are good. This one's okay. This is her worst piece for the 4-piece set. And then for the 2-piece set, they're pretty bad. This one's, actually, I take it back. Her link rope's good. And her planar sphere is, bleh. It's bleh. As for Eidolons, she's at Eidolon 2. Alright, next is Pela. These are her stats. Lycone is resolution and shines as pearls of sweat. I'm just gonna call it the sweaty Lycone from now on. Anyways, it's at S3. Really wish I had more copies so it'd be more consistent. And the defense break also goes down. These are her traces. Very low investment. Relics, 2-piece HP, 2-piece speed, and a broken planar sphere set. As for Eidolons, she's at Eidolon 6. Alright, on to my Bronya. These are her stats. I struggled really quite hard actually to get her to the 160 speed threshold, as well as having enough effect resist for the broken keel set. And her crit damage, to say the least, is pretty bad, but she doesn't rely on crit damage as much as Sparkle, since most of her damage buff is just from her skill, the straight up damage increase. But I mean, her ultimate does have a crit damage scaling, but it's not nearly as high as Sparkle's, or as frequent as Sparkle's either. Lycone is her signature Lycone at S1. These are her traces. I do need to work on Bronya's traces, but I don't really find myself using Bronya as often as Sparkle, so that's why I've refrained from putting too much investment in her. But I'm pretty sure that if I had her skill at level 10 and her ultimate at level 10, the damage output would be quite a bit higher. As for Relic, she's on the 4-piece speed and a broken keel set. Unlike Sparkle, the broken keel set is actually activated for the bonus crit damage buff on her. As for Eidolon, she's actually at E1, so it makes it a little bit easier to manage skill points. Alright, and last but definitely not least, keeping our team alive and immune to CC, is Our Lady Fu Xuan. These are her stats. They're actually lower than usual because this Lycone right here that she's holding, the Trend of the Universal Market, I believe the stats are fairly lower compared to obviously Gepard's Lycone, but the benefit of being able to burn the enemy really benefits Acheron, so I decided to put it on her. But obviously Gepard would make better use of this Lycone, or even Fire MC, but Fire MC, he can't really solo sustain an MOC, or at least it's very RNG based and very difficult too, so we're not going to attempt that. As for traces, these are her traces. She definitely needs a little bit more investment, I think, in her skill and talent, I believe. The extra crit rate and damage reduction probably could help. These are relics, 2-piece speed, 2-piece max HP, and a Fleet of the Ageless set. She'd probably be better on Broken Keel for this particular team, but the, Fleet of the Ageless set benefits her more, and it's just a more universal set. Making me attack percent is used on almost every single DPS. There are a few exceptions. As for Eidolons, she does not have any. Alrighty guys, well that's going to be it for this Honkai Star Rail video. If you guys found the video informative or helpful, please make sure to leave a like and subscribe. Other than that, I'll see you guys in my next Honkai Star Rail video. Peace.